Hey guys, Classified Tutorials here, and today we're going to review a little bit about fractions. Like I said, this is going to be a review, and I made this video for people who didn't want to sit through a 3-minute song about fractions. So this is kind of to jog your memory of things you might have forgotten. So let's get right to it. First of all, fractions are used to represent the division or separation of a whole into smaller parts. So, to understand how this division or separation works, we have to understand that a fraction is made up of three components. A top number, called a numerator, which represents the number of parts that we have. A bottom number, called a denominator, which represents the total amount of parts available. And a division line. And the division line is very important because it's going to tell us, hey, this is a fraction. This is a division that we're dealing with. Okay, so suppose we're talking about how many of something we have. In this visual example that I put together, we can talk about the O's and whether or not the O's are filled and how many O's we have. For example, in this first one, in these two blue O's, we can see that one of them is filled and one of them is not filled. So if we wanted to talk about how many of them were filled, well, one of them is filled, but there are two total. So the one that's filled, this is the one that's going to go on top, and the two total is going to go on the bottom. And it would be the same for the other one. One of them is blank, and there are two total. So 1/2 of the circles, or the O's, are filled, or 1/2 of the circles are blank. Now, in this next one, the red one, we can see that there are 4 total O's, and that 3 of them are filled. So 3 out of 4 circles, or O's, are filled, but only 1 out of every 4 circles is not filled. So 3/4 of the circle, or 3/4 of the circles, are filled in, and 1/4 or a fourth of the circles are blank. It's the same thing with these green ones. If you take a look, there are 5 green circles, but only 2 of them are filled in. So 2 out of 5 green circles are filled in, but 3 out of 5 green circles are blank. Now for this last one with the orange circles, we can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 circles total. So that 10 is going to go on the bottom. And if we wanted to look at the blank circles, well, we've got 3 of them. So 3 blank circles out of 10. We're just talking about the orange ones, remember. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 10 are filled in. So 3 out of 10 orange ones are blank, and 7 out of 10 orange ones are filled in. But let's take this a little further. Suppose that we wanted to talk about how many total circles are filled in and how many total circles are blank. So first let's count the total circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So we have 21 circles. That total is going to go on the bottom. That's going to be our denominator. Let's start by counting the blanks since there are less of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the circles are blank. And then, well, we just take the rest of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 out of 21 are, in fact, filled in. Now, in our next video, we're going to see how this 13 and this 8 relate to each other. But right now, we're just going to continue with the types of fractions. Now, there are 3 main types of fractions. We've got proper fractions, improper fractions, and mixed numbers. Let's take a look at the first one here, proper fractions. In a proper fraction, the numerator is going to be smaller than the denominator. In plain English, the big number is going to be on the bottom, and the small number is going to be on the top. For example, 1/2. 1 is smaller than 2, and 1 is on the top. 3/4, or 3/4. 3 is going to be on top. 4, the bigger number, is going to be on the bottom. 1/4 is the same thing. Even 1/1,000,000. It doesn't matter what number we put on the bottom, as long as the bottom number is bigger than the top number. Now for the improper fractions, it's quite the opposite. The bigger number is going to go on top. So, for example, 4/3, 4 is greater than 3, and 4 is on top. 6/5, or 10/3, all of these are valid improper fractions. Now there is a third way of conveying fractions, and this one's called the mixed fraction or the mixed number. Why is it called mixed? Well, because it contains 2 things. A whole number, take for example 2, and a proper fraction. Remember, proper is where the bigger number is on the bottom. 2 and a half, for example. This is a mixed number because you've got a whole number, 2, and a proper fraction, 1/2. Now, why can't we use an improper fraction? Well, that's a good question. Because if we use an improper fraction, say 2, and let's use a number bigger than 2 for the fraction, so 3. Let's say we had 2 and 3/2. Well, 3/2 is just 1 and 1/2, as we'll see later on. So 2 and 3/2 is the same as 3 and 1/2. That's why we only use a proper fraction. So let's go back, 2 and 1/2, or 3 and 1/4, or 5 and 2/3. I think you guys get the point. Here are a couple tips that might make fractions a little easier next time. Any fraction with the same numerator and denominator is automatically equal to 1. So 4/4, 3/3, 2/2 are all 1. Any two fractions that when divided out give the same number are called equivalent. For example, if you divide 3 by 4, and you get 0.75. And if you divide 6 by 8, you also get 0.75. So 3/4 and 6/8, since they both divide out to 0.75, are equivalent. Any fraction with a 0 on top is going to be equal to 0. The only exception to this rule is if the denominator or the bottom number is 0. If you have a 0 on the bottom, that fraction does not exist. Because you cannot divide by 0. You just can't. Ever. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to rate, like, subscribe, and share. And if you have any questions, please ask me in the comments. From Classified Tutorials, thanks for watching.